Hello and good morning, afternoon, evening to whenever you're watching this. It is June 17th, and thank you for coming back for another video. I'm Jules. I appreciate you coming back. I got a lot of cross stitch to show you today. I have a finish, I have some good progress, and I actually have one restart and a new start to show you. So first up, I'm going to show you the stuff that the pattern that I finished, which is of course sea turtle. You guys are familiar with that. Now I've washed it, but I have not ironed this yet. So here's my sea turtle monochrome. So this is basically, make sure it's on there. So this is 25 count fabric, and it is done 2/1, just a half stitch or a 10 stitch. And this just took me, about maybe 3 weeks to do. And if I had focused just on this, it would have taken a lot less. But yet again, I don't center my stuff the way that I need to. I'm going to fold this over, make it look a little better. But if you can focus, if it'll let you focus in, you can see the individual stitches a little bit better. And so it's come through really nicely. I'm super thrilled with this one. This is one of my later designs that I've done on my my pattern store on Etsy, Stitching Jules Design. It's great. I love the fact that I got this done. So now I just got to iron it out and face my nemesis, which is framing. No, I haven't gotten anything framed yet. I'm still kind of working on my own little schedule. Honestly, I feel like if I just get one thing framed, it probably kind of breaks the seal, so to speak, and then I just probably flood and get the rest of them done. So, but there's that one finish. And then the other one that I've made progress on is Sun Worship. And Sun Worship is coming along nicely. I'm over 60, 2%, 3% at least done. I probably more than that. I'm starting to work on her dress down here, and I'm filling in with a couple really super colorful parts of the dress. I also kind of worked on this section. So really it was just this section this week that I got work done on. But yep, so I'm going to start kind of chipping away at the different colors of her dress as I fill in everything else around. So that one is heading towards, I think it's going to be, I want it to be a July finish. End of July finish would be perfect. But this one will be ready for the Needlework Expo in late August. The Needlework Expo is another one of those direct-to-vendor, direct-to-store shows. This one's going to be virtual. It's going to be online via Zoom, I think, where you can actually talk to individual shops and things like that, and they can see. I don't know why this thing keeps doing this. I gotta fix this. Linus wants to move. She's like, I think she sees the dogs and she's going for them. We'll leave her like that for now, and then I'll have to come back and fix that later. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm trying to get some finishes done and see what. I mean, honestly, I've got more to frame than I have up here right now. So when I get them framed, it's going to be really cool. I just got to get them framed. So the restart that I've done, let me show you. It's actually Cowboy. I knew Cowboy needed to have a restart. And the reason for that is that I'd gotten this beautiful fabric that I was like, man, I really kind of think you should work on Cowboy. And I didn't think it would fit. I didn't think Cowboy would fit on it. And then I realized that I had my settings incorrect on, I used the fabric, cross-stitch fabric calculator from Yarn Tree. And you can set up all your parameters for like how much space you want around your pattern, and I realized that I had asked for like 4 inches all the way around, where 3 inches is more than enough, and honestly I could probably get away with 2. So when I adjusted that, Cowboy actually fits on that. And do I have a Cowboy pattern ready for you guys, or do I have a picture of the Cowboy pattern? Right at this moment I don't think that I do, but I'm going to show you what it looked like, how far I got. I didn't get terribly far, but I got kind of far. Terribly far, kind of far. So, I mean, not that bad. Honestly, not that much. And so, I'm going to pause this for a second and show you. Okay, sorry about that. I got massively distracted by realizing that I had a bunch of new patterns that I hadn't shown you guys yet, but I'm going to show those to you afterwards. But Cowboy started off on Cowboy started off on the black and white, and I always like doing this just because it's sort of like the base pattern, and it's sort of what's the word? It just shows you like the design itself. It shows off the design. But my husband was kind of leaning on me. He's like, you really should. And this thing moved over. I swear, maybe this is haunted. But but my husband was like, you really ought to do one of these on colored, on your dyed fabric, and just see what it can do, what it can look like. So that is what we're gonna do, and we're using that sort of coffee colored fabric that I have. This stuff. So if you can imagine, if you have good imagination, if you can imagine Cowboy on this fabric, I think it's going to look good. I think it's going to turn out well. I'm really excited to see. Now, I was worried. I'm just leaving it. I was worried that the fabric itself, like I wouldn't be able to grid on it. And if I can't grid on something, like if I was just doing a pattern for myself and just kind of trying to work on it and get it done, I could take the time to sort of come up with other ways of gridding that I wouldn't be changing the fabric in any way, that I could then stitch it slowly and get it done. But I gotta get these things done for these shows and get as much stitched as possible. So I tested a corner of this fabric. I put some of my grid marker on it, and then I went over it with both, like just washing it with sort of a mild dishwashing liquid, and then hot water to rinse it, and also to remove the gridding pen. And it looked great. It didn't look any different than the rest of the fabric did. So ultimately, this 28 count Lugana that I'm going to work on is gonna, it's called gingerbread, and so got this. But I'm excited to see what this is gonna look like. I'm hoping that it's really gonna take some of these monochromes to like the next level and show people how you can really change things up. Some people are amazing at looking at something and going, yeah, I'm going to change these threads and I'm going to put it on this fabric, and blah, and I'm not really there. I'm not there. I'm still sort of like, I still take the pattern as is, and I kind of usually just sort of do it as I see it. As someone shows it to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that one, and then I don't think about doing it on different fabric or things like that. That's just me. So, and then I've got a new start, which, can you tell what it is? Can you tell what it is? No, you can't tell what it is. Let me show you how big the fabric is on this one. Wow! There's a big fabric. This piece is going to be almost as big, if not as big, as Empire State Workers. But it needs to get worked on. This one is the library, the monochrome library. Let me show you what this one looks like. So when I looked on my Etsy stats, like you can tell like what people like, what sells. Over the last 6 months, this has been the biggest pattern that people have liked, looked at, and bought. And so it needs to be out there. It needs to be stitched so that people can truly see what it is. And hopefully people still like it. But it's a lot of stitching. So I'm like, I'm just going to work on it a little at a time while I'm doing these other things. Priority basically is to get things finished that I can actually finish. Now, could I finish library? Yeah, I mean, it's 46,000 stitches. So if I did 2,000 stitches a day, that would take me 23 days. So yeah, I could get it done in a month. Challenge not accepted on that one, because you know how I get distracted. So, but I really want to try and get one more of these bigger patterns done. Now, I still have the giraffe monochrome that I have started that I don't have right here. That one is about 15,000 stitches to go on that one, and I do need to make some progress on that. But I'm back in my like doing a bunch of different things at one time, sort of until something grabs me, and then I'm like, all right, get this done. So there's that, and there's that, and there's that. And I'm going to have to go through and remove the Cowboy. I'm going to have to frog all that fabric at some time. Or frog the floss at some time to get rid of all that. And that'll happen. I mean, that's a good piece of fabric, and I'm going to use it for something. So, so we shall see. Doogie, what are you doing? Stop getting into my cords down here. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys all the new patterns that I've put on the store in the last week. There's probably like a half dozen here, if not a little more. So you can check those out. Stitching Jewels Design on Etsy, links down below. So the first one up is I finally got this one up, and this is another one of my little travel posters. I wouldn't say little, there is a fair bit of stitching. This is 150 by 200 stitches with 27 colors, but I thought it was just a neat little travel poster, and gosh darn it, there's just not enough cross stitch out there about Rhode Island. So if you're from Rhode Island, you want to stitch a travel poster, well, there you go. So there's that one. The next one, let's see, let me see if I do these in somewhat of an order. Yeah, there's like 5 of them. Next one up, I call this Piano in the Forest. And so this came out really nicely. Sort of a mystical fantasy type scene. This one is 250 by 170, and there's 28 colors. And it's just super colorful, all those pinks and purples and everything. So I'm sure that's going to grab somebody's fancy. They're gonna want to get into that one. All right. Next up, I've got, call this one Barrette Time in Africa. I love the colors on this one. So just like my sun worship, there's lots of oranges, blues, things like that on this one. Now this one is smaller than it appears, because while the first 2 were full coverage, this one is not. So you can use whatever color fabric you want. It's going to show through her arms and around her head and everything. So it's 145 by 200 with 24 colors. And this one just screams for some crazy fabric that you can just really just accentuate the complexity of the design and whatnot. So, but I love those. I love those. One more full coverage. Well, one more full coverage that's up on the store. I call this one the Bookshop. A lot of people really like my book themed cross stitch ones, so I was looking for some others. This one's a little bit different. This is a storefront or a bookshop storefront, shop front at night, probably closed, but if you like darker pieces, if you like stuff that looks like nighttime, this is perfect. This one is, let's see, 225 across, 265 down with 44 colors. I could have cut the color count on this one, but I felt like if you want to stitch this one, you're going to want these different books and the colors to really kind of pop. So this one's pretty cool. All right, and then finally, a new monochrome up on the store, and this one kind of makes me giggle a little bit, but I try to create patterns that, like, there's underrepresentation maybe in the cross stitch market for things, and I come from a farming background, sort of. My grandparents were farmers, and then their families were farmers for like forever. They're some of the first families to settle in Indiana way back when. And so when I was a kid, we spent our summers and holidays up in the farm in Indiana. My grandfather was a beef cattle farmer. He also had corn and all these different things. And so, and I watch a lot of farming YouTube videos. I do. And so I found this picture, and I'm like, I can make this work. And here you go. It's corn. So the nice thing about this one is there's not a lot of stitching. There's only like 6,000 stitches, 6,600 stitches or something like that for corn. Again, it's just one color. This is one color floss over whatever color fabric you want. And I think this is going to look good if I can do it on some kind of a yellow, darker yellow, yellowish green kind of color. Probably yellow would look good. That would make the corn cob come out really good, or the corn itself. I can't read the back. 225 by 310. So one of my smaller monochrome pieces, but you know, if you got a friend that's a gardener, farmer, whatnot, it just came out really nice. I really like it. I know it's different, but I feel like there's nothing out there like it. So let's put something different out there and see if people who are like, well, I cross stitch, but I need a piece of corn to cross stitch. I'm not making fun. That's how I talk when I get tired. And so, and then the last one, I don't actually have this one up on the store yet. I thought I did, but I don't. And I need to put that up on the store hopefully today at some point. But it's another Christmas piece. This one's called Santa's Toys. I don't have a stitch count for you or colors just as yet, but I'll have them up in the store shortly. This is full coverage, and it's just, you know, Santa's getting his toys ready for Christmas. It's kind of a Christmas scene. So there is that. Alrighty, kids. So what do we have on the docket? Well, a couple more things. So one, if you are somebody who doesn't shop on Etsy and or you don't want to shop on Etsy for some reason, and everybody has their particulars, and that's fine. And I do have the stitchingjewelsdesign.com website, which has about 60 patterns on it and all the new stuff. It has all the new stuff on there, and so it's available for people if they want to go there and actually shop. Yeah, so there's that. I've been working on that some. I gotta get the design to look better. I'm just terrible at like this. I'm good at cross stitch design. I'm terrible at other designs, and so, but you know, there you go. Up on the docket this week is to get some framing done. I just gotta get some framing done. Maybe if I had something that would stick under this thing, it would hold this in place. But I get some framing done. I'm going to start framing now without the matting around it, because I'm like, you know what, the matting looks wonderful. However, it takes up more space than I want it to. I want to be able to fit more patterns on here. So I'm going to stop matting stuff and just do straight plain framing, just so everybody can see it. And that's going to be coming, I hope, this week. I just gotta cross that bridge. I gotta just suck it up and do it. I have such a mental block. It's an emotional, psychological block with it. But, all right, and there's that. And then lastly, I just want to thank those of you guys who have already signed up on Patreon. I really, really do appreciate it. We're building a bit of a community over there, we're building a community over there. And if you would like to have a bit more behind the scenes look, I post pictures of designs I'm working on. I post pictures of like how much stitching I get done a day. I take pictures of my pattern keeper and put it up there. And if you subscribe at the $7 or higher levels, then it comes with a complimentary pattern, which is cheaper than buying it off of Etsy. So if you like my work and you are like, man, I just want to buy all these different, you know, patterns and whatnot, well, you can save money by actually joining Patreon. You don't get billed until the very first of the month, and once that goes through, then I send out all the free I want to say free. It's not really free. It comes with your membership. So, but I want to thank those of you guys. Some of the OG, the old guard, have signed up over there, and it's been fun to kind of do something different and get some stuff out there. And so anyway, I've got some stitching to do. And I've also got some other type of cross stitch work to do. And but I hope you guys have a great week. It is getting hot out there, and I'm sitting here in shorts, which I hardly ever sit in shorts. And so, but I'm sitting here in shorts, and but happy stitching. Hope y'all have a good time, and be safe. And I'll see you next time. Oh, one last thing. I forgot to tell you. I think I'm going to actually do a video which is going to be like a first half recap video of the year, because I've had so many finishes. And if I can get, by the end of the month, if I can get stuff framed, it'll be even better. But so much has happened. It's been probably the most productive first 6 months of any year that I've had, and just in terms of numbers of patterns that are done. But a lot has happened in the first 6 months of the year. So I think I'm going to do that in a couple of weeks at the end of June. But anyway, I just want to give you a heads up about that. So take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.